Podcast. Holy shit, where did my voice go?
You sound bad.
This is like I can't tell you if this is a new development as of right now because I literally have not talked to anyone today, but this is a new development in the illness track, man. I sound terrible.
It's it's pretty rough. Sounds like you've smoked about 6 packs today.
I did not do
If
that,
you
but
just had the
oh my
cough to go
god.
with it, that would make it even more
I
fitting.
have been coughing a little bit. I don't know what I caught, man, but like the path of how I have felt this week, like the progression of this illness has been so strange. And this morning it was like thick green snot. Mucinex
Beautiful.
helped. Yeah, but here we are, man. It's week 9. The games are almost over. We got the Michigan game up on the television right now. This one's pretty much over. Go figure, the most enthralling game of this evening hour is Boston College Louisville, but here we are, Sir Clinton. How are you doing tonight?
A legit Boston College team that Michigan State beat. One of their 3 wins. I'm doing pretty well, man. I'm a little sleepy. Uh, Another Saturday essentially in the books. It feels good to be back on Saturday. I enjoy doing these late night recaps. I wish we had, even though this game is kind of close in score, it has not felt overly close for the entirety of it. Michigan is feel like they pretty dominated this game, but we'll get to that in a minute. But overall, I'm healthy as of now. Went to a birthday party today with the 2 boys, and then a kid at the birthday party popped a fever and started complaining that his ears hurt. So I'm sure it's only a matter of time before my children have whatever sickness that was. Ryan,
Oh,
other than your sickness, how are
you
you?
you gonna be joining me here in a couple weeks then, my friend.
I hope
Hopefully, I
not.
feel better by then. I'm good. I didn't do anything today. It was fantastic. It was a nice little change of pace
Is
compared
Sam out of
to.
town?
No, she was here. What did she do today? She went to one of her friends had like a mini Halloween party where they were watching the football game that we're watching right now. Oh, and there goes Jordan Marshall down the sidelines.
Gashed him. Game over. No more.
31. Well, I guess extra point pending. 31 Michigan, 13 Michigan
Michigan
State.
covers.
Michigan does cover. They should probably fire Jonathan Smith because this is not a well coached team. But no, man, I'm good. I just sat on the couch all day and evidently did not talk to anyone because I had no idea this is what sounded like. So this is I I usually don't go back and listen to our episodes. I might have to go back and listen to this one just to hear how bad I sound. That's crazy. I can feel it in my throat that it's like my voice is just not projecting like it normally does. I
Maybe
sound
that's a
very
good thing. I
raspy
don't know.
now. Well, I don't. I won't sound as ASMR today, I guess.
Overall,
Shout
though,
out Ryan Burns.
um, pretty solid Saturday. I mean, the SEC was pretty entertaining. I know we don't cover those teams. I know you, as our other Notre Dame fans, are elated to see the 49 to what 18 beat down. No,
Dude,
LSU is number 18.
this
49 to
is like
whatever
a
beat down of LSU.
this is a triple good win for me because one, Texas A&M continuing to win helps Notre Dame. Two, Texas A&M beating LSU eliminates them from the playoff. And three, Texas A&M beating the shit out of LSU means Brian Kelly might be on the hot seat, which is kind of funny.
Dude, he's already on the hot seat. I think his ass might be canned because they have what Bama next week.
Yeah, I think so. It would be very
They're
funny if they
not
beat
beating
Bama.
Alabama
Would
yet.
be very funny if they beat Bama.
Well, if you watch the game today, Alabama looked very susceptible against a bad South Carolina team. So
Yeah, that
who knows
was
who's good this year?
the clusterfuck in the SEC today. Bo Prabula broke his leg, so Missouri's got their second loss. They're probably done. I don't. Is Vanderbilt going to be a playoff team? They could be. Texas better not be
No.
within fucking 10 feet of the playoff because they suck. They are terrible.
You know they're going to be there at what are they? 11-1,
No, they have 2 losses
2
already.
losses. Florida 10-2. They'll be there. Just watch.
Well, if they go 10-2, they will have beat Texas A&M, so they would likely deserve to be there. But I don't know how they beat this Texas A&M team because they look
They don't have
really
the
good.
offense.
They look
No.
really good. Arch got hurt today. I don't know how serious that was. It was at the end of the game
I
anyway.
think he was celebrating at the end of the game,
Okay.
so I think he's fine.
It didn't look serious, but what do I know? Talking about these teams that have been potentially eliminated from the playoff, Clinton, we had a little bit of that in the Big Ten today. Not necessarily teams that we were pining for playoff spots, but There's certainly a couple of two-loss teams that are no longer two-loss teams, and some lost in more embarrassing fashion than the others. Let's start Clinton out west. Washington.
Wait a second.
Oh, you're
I
right.
thought we had breaking news tonight, Ryan.
Clinton, you are correct. For the first time in 15 quarters, the Wisconsin Badgers scored points. They got a late touchdown against Oregon.
Their second to last drive.
Their second to last drive.
They got a tutty.
Their quarterback completed one pass the first 3 quarters and then turned into Joe Montana for about 3.5 minutes. Not that Oregon was going to cover anyway, but that game cost me like $150. So fuck you, Oregon. I hope you lose the rest of your games.
You should fuck Mother Nature on that one because that looked like a monsoon.
Yeah,
and that shit better not happen in 3 weeks when we're
Dude, I was literally thinking the same thing. I'm like, if we get this kind of rain, I'm not even going to the game. I don't care.
I'm gonna be pissed. The raincoat's not even gonna save you at that point.
I need to get better at looking at the weather in games that I'm betting because if I knew that they were gonna get 5 inches of rain in that game, that felt like an easy auto under. But I digress. A couple hours to the north of there, it was not raining. Clinton in Seattle, a very beautiful day. It looked like in the Pacific Northwest.
Oh no, it definitely rained.
Did it? Shit.
Yes, the rain was swirling. They were talking about it.
Oh, see, I didn't have that game on audio at all, so that's on me. But it did not stop Washington from scoring 42 points against Illinois while holding the Illini to 25. This was a really good back and forth game, Clinton, for the first half. But Washington just put it away early in the second half. They forced a punt to open the second half. Had a couple of touchdowns sandwiched around a Luke Altmyer interception, and that kind of ended up being the difference in this one. The Huskies offense was just outstanding in this game. Really good job from Jonah Coleman. Got himself going a little bit, and Damon Williams into the run game. Huskies ran for 157 yards as a team. Denzel Boston is a very good football player. He had a touchdown reception, 152 yards receiving. He also threw a touchdown to Jonah Coleman. Damon Williams had 4 touchdown passes of his own. And credit to the Washington defense in this one. They've been kind of the potential sore spot of this team. They forced 2 Luke Altmyer interceptions in this one, and one of them, the last one came kind of towards the end when the game was already over. But the one early in the second half, man, that ended up kind of being a turning point in the game.
Yeah, and back to Mr. Big Day Boston here. Those were both career highs, 10 catches and the 153 yards receiving for him. Also learned a fun fact today. He was a high school quarterback, so the pass just came natural to him.
It was a pretty good throw, too. It was like crossfield on a wheel route.
Yeah, and I think Jonah Coleman must have tuned into the show, and he gave you a little bit of bounce back with the 14.75-1. He got 5.3 YPC today.
Yep.
And then he also contributed in the pass game with 4 for 32 and a touchdown. Those when he now has set a new personal record of rushing TDs in a season with his 13th, and he's going to continue to climb. He also leads Washington with 15 total touchdowns on the season. We talked about this in our keys to the game. Illinois needed to get stops on third down. They were one of the worst teams in the country with third down stops. Well, Washington went 9 for 12 on third downs today. So they didn't check that box. I see a doggy creeping into the video.
Yeah, and the benefit of the couch is Lucy's gonna come hang out. She's been chilling with me all day.
We also noted how bad Illinois has been in the red zone. Well, guess what?
Mm-hmm.
Washington was 6 for 6, 100%, red all touchdowns. Not only to add to that, Ryan, Washington scored. They had the ball 8 times. They scored on 6 of them. 1 was a punt, and 1 was just to end the game. So they probably would have scored again if given the chance. 449 yards total for this Washington offense. One of the most explosive offenses in the Big Ten. We talked about the potential that Illinois could have some trouble slowing them down. Illinois themselves did pretty good. I believe they're around 335 yards of offense. So they did move the ball. But overall, as you mentioned, Washington, much better day on defense. I believe Washington on a whole is getting healthier. And then when Luke Altmyer ends your day as the leading rusher for the Illini with 48 yards, probably not the best thing to help you win on the road because we talked about how they needed to be able to run the ball well to control the flow of this game and keep the explosive offense off the field, and they could not muster that ability. And then Ryan, I'm going to give him a quick shout out. Desmond Roebuck is a freshman. Everybody needs to keep their eyeballs
Very
on him.
good.
He's a very good
Very good
receiver.
player.
He only had 3 for 36 in this game, but he had 2 TDs. So his name is coming up every single week. So you guys keep your eyes on Desmond Roebuck, who has been phenomenal for the Huskies this year. Also, big note on defense: neither team recorded a sack in this game.
Good job protecting the quarterbacks, and they are pretty mobile guys, so do good at escaping pressure here.
Do you
We
still
can
think?
officially put.
Okay, good. You're about to
No,
say what I
go.
was
You
going to
go.
add.
You go.
I was just going to
What?
say, do we continue to Washington on their pursuit of your dark horse playoff, and then I think this
That is.
officially ends Illinois?
Yep, that's exactly what I have wrote here. We can definitively put to bed the Illinois playoff discussion. They are not making it in with 3 losses with that resume. But Clinton, Washington, leading up to that end of season Oregon game, they are at Wisconsin, they host Purdue, and then they are at UCLA. Going to Wisconsin, in theory, could be tough just because of the travel, and we know how this Washington team has been on the road under Jed Fish. But it's not a great Wisconsin team. You should win that. UCLA came back down to earth a little bit. I'm not worried about them hosting to Purdue, but man, there is a really good chance this team is 9-2 going into that Oregon game. And if you beat Oregon to end the season to go 10-2,
Lock yourself up.
I think you're a playoff team in that case.
Yeah, absolutely. And you get them at home.
Yep.
They've got to come to Seattle. It's a revenge game after last year didn't go too well for you. And again, I know it was a monsoon, but it was an Oregon team that didn't. Both teams played in the rain tonight, and Oregon did
Yep.
not look very good. So if Washington continues to build momentum, we're going to have one hell of a clash in that last week of the season.
Yeah, I'm excited. Well, I'm not excited for that game because that means the season's almost over, but that's going to be a good game for sure. Clinton, speaking of big games,
Fatality.
Iowa 41, Minnesota 3. This game was over in like 5.5 minutes. It wasn't actually 5.5 minutes, but really good game opening touchdown drive for Iowa. Set the tone well. Good mix of run and pass. I thought Mark Gronowski made a couple of really nice throws on this drive. Minnesota did a fast 3-and-out. Wisconsin, Jesus. Iowa got a field goal and then immediately had a pick six. It was 17-0, 12 minutes into this game. And then like 10 minutes later, it was 31-0 with 2 more Minnesota 3-and-outs, an Iowa touchdown drive, and a Caden Wheatchin punt return for a touchdown. He is very good. They got him involved in the passing game a little bit as well. But at that point, I mean, this game was over. Iowa basically parked the bus, and they did it on both sides of the ball, man. This Iowa defense, my goodness, a Sisyphean task trying to move the ball against them for Minnesota in this one. 133 total yards for the Gophers. Drake Lindsey threw 3 interceptions. The Iowa defense had 4 sacks, 9 tackles for a loss. Overall, I mean, I thought Mark Gronowski played pretty well in this game, despite just another modest stat line. He had 135 yards passing, but a couple of nice throws, tucked and scrambled when necessary. I mean, they're running the ball well. Darius Taylor got hurt again in this game. I think he carried on the first
One
play of the
carry
game.
for 1 yard.
He played a couple more plays, and I don't think he played after that first drive, which, I mean, by that point, the game was basically over anyway, so why put him out there? But just overall thoughts on this game, Clinton?
Well, my thoughts are about what this stat I'm about to give you is. At one point in the first half, Ryan, Iowa had the yardage advantage of 166-1. Anytime Iowa has an offensive advantage of 166-1 on you,
That's not great.
it's a bad, bad day for you. A team who cannot pass the ball had you a 166-1 edge. We talked about this in our keys. It would be a battle of the run games. And then, of course, a battle of the run defenses, be able to stop the run game. Iowa 133 for 2 TDs. Minnie with a measly 24 yards. Now, that is including, I believe, negative 29 yards from the sacks on Drake Lindsey. Minnesota also didn't get any touchdowns. Obviously, given the 3 points, that didn't need to be said, Clinton. But Iowa wins with defense and special teams, man. Pick six, punt return, TD, you already said. They won in all phases, and it was the first time since the 2019 Holiday Bowl, which was a 49-24 over now Big Ten foe USC, that Iowa had touchdowns in all 3 phases of the game. So fantastic performance up and down the field from the Hawkeyes. Again, they can't throw a lick. They hit a couple decent passes in this game. But I'm not going to lie, after the first quarter, I pretty much tuned this one out because there was no shot that Minnesota was coming back in this game. Iowa has now won 10 of the last 11 games in the rivalry. The Floyd of Rosedale will remain with Iowa. And Ryan, I did my due diligence today to honor the 98-pound pig trophy. And I had some ham today because all parts of swine were fair game, as Jeffrey the Greek talked to me today.
Ham is disgusting.
So I got my ham in. We had a quiche, a ham, egg, well, it is egg, ham and cheese quiche this morning. So I partook in the battle. Hell of a win for Iowa. What a letdown for Minnesota after such a big win last week over Nebraska. And this is just a game PJ Fleck cannot get over the hump on.
No. Hasn't the only time that he's beaten them been the fair catch, not fair catch game?
I believe so, yes.
Hey, that's not great.
Yep.
Oh, wow. Good for you, Michigan State. Mopped up
Nice.
time touchdown.
Yep. No guy, turn that off. I'm looking at Utah, Colorado now. Not that that's a good game either, but
Oh, I need to put that one on here. Yeah, this one's over. It's now, well, they might go for 2 here, but whatever. I do want to discuss real quick with Iowa. They're now 5-2. They have a lot of meat on the bone left with this schedule. It's not going to be an easy end of the year. You've got Nebraska, USC, and Oregon still in front of you. But if, Clinton, big if, this team manages to go 10-2, do we need to start considering Iowa as a playoff dark horse? Or do we just assume that they're not going to beat Oregon and it's all going to be moot?
yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough to beat Oregon given the amount of offense that Oregon can put down on the field, but Iowa's getting a bye week. Now I get that, right? It is a bye, right? Yes.
It is a
they're
bye
getting
week, yep.
week. So Oregon gets the same thing, but you got to like Kirk Ferentz's chances with an entire week, rest his team, for them to devise a game plan. As we said, Oregon did not look very pretty tonight. Again, I know the rain, but traveling to Kinnick, man, it's where dreams go to die, and it's a cross-country trip for the Ducks, who, as Dale told us, or I believe in the Big Ten, they are the highest mileage traveled teams this year.
Mm-hmm.
If Iowa pulls this win, I think they're going to get through the rest of their schedule without dropping one, Ryan. And I think it's very possible a 10-2 Iowa with a win over the Oregon Ducks is in the playoffs. But I don't think you're just going to be able to run the ball to beat Oregon.
Well, that's the issue.
You're going to have
Iowa.
something contributing passing the ball. And even if let's say you somehow got in the playoff at 10-2, you're probably going to get railroaded because you can't throw the ball.
Yeah, that's I just like, especially against like USC too. Like that's just an often like this is a good Iowa defense, but even if USC gets out ahead by like 10 on them, they just don't. I mean, they run the ball well in USC. We've seen is susceptible to the run even when the opposing team cannot pass, a la last weekend. But I just don't know that this Iowa offense has the explosivity in it to be able to compete in a game like that.
They're going to need the same thing that they had today, which is contributions from all 3 phases, and not just good play, but touchdowns from them.
Mm-hmm.
The nice thing is you get Oregon home, but on the road at USC and on the road at Nebraska in a rivalry game, Nebraska has a pretty feisty offense as well. I don't know. I think if I see something here, I see 1-3 finish for the Hawkeyes, possibly a 2-2.
Yeah,
but I think the next 2 are going to tell you how the last 2 games go. I mean, they're beating Michigan State. I'm sorry, Sparty fans. Michigan State's not going to have enough offense to be able to beat Iowa.
Yeah, no, that would be my bet as well, as 2-2, splitting USC and Nebraska and then beating Michigan State and probably not beating Oregon. But I think 8-4 is a pretty good season, so nothing to scoff at.
If you could have that Iowa State game back,
yeah,
that's a little grayer right now.
Yeah, that's
you damn near stole one from Indiana though when they came.
That's the other thing too. Is that's a good loss. I mean,
and
Iowa
Gronowski
State
got hurt.
Yeah. Iowa State is not helping them at all because they've just cratered since then. I know they have a lot of injuries on defense, but that's not been a good team.
Cincinnati
all.
Bearcats going to win the Big 12.
Don't have a Big 12 loss yet. Look out for Houston, man. Houston's looking pretty good too.
Houston's nasty.
Good
Taking it
defense.
to Arizona State tonight. I don't know what the most recent update is, but
There's like 3 minutes left in the game, and I think they're still up like 12 or something like that.
yeah, deadly. Coming out of nowhere, too. They did not have a great finish, I don't think, last year in the Big 12. So
No, they did not. Not at all. Elsewhere in the Big Ten, we had Nebraska 28, Northwestern 21. This was I did not think that this was going to be the best game of the morning, but it was a really good back and forth game. It felt like Northwestern really wanted to come out and slow this game down with their rush attack again, kind of like we talked about on the preview show, how they beat Penn State. Just slow the game down, utilize the run, pass when you need to. They only had 3 full first half drives, Clinton. They went 6 plays, 9 yards punt, 9 plays, 53 yards field goal, 15 plays, 67 yards field goal. So not a lot going on early in this game. Nebraska let them hang around, though. They had a long missed field goal and fumble on drives in the first half, which kept this game close at halftime. It did feel like it was going to get precarious for the Wildcats in the second half. Nebraska took the opening kick of the half back for a touchdown, and a Preston Stone interception set up a short Nebraska touchdown, which made it 21-6 midway through the third quarter. But the Wildcats fought back. They got a long response drive to make it 21-13. They forced a punt, and then Caleb Komalafe had a 56-yard touchdown drive where it looked like he got bottled up, but broke outside on a 3rd and 2 to tie the game. And then a couple plays later, Dylan Raiola threw actually it was the next play. First play of the next drive, Dylan Raiola threw a bad interception, and that felt like it was going to be the game there, but Preston Stone gave it right back. And credit to the Nebraska offense for a great methodical touchdown drive to take the lead with 2:44 left in the game. And they held on late. There was a questionable, was it PI, wasn't it PI on the very last play from
Wildy.
Yeah, to Wildy. I thought it probably could have been defensive holding, but so goes them's the breaks, as they say. Caleb Komalafe, he was fantastic in this game. 17 carries, 125 yards, 2 touchdowns, and not to be outdone, Emmett Johnson was just as good with 27 carries, 124 yards, and 2 scores. And his ability to run the ball, Clinton, was probably the difference in this game.
Yeah, just impressive poise by Raiola in that last drive that you mentioned. He converted 4 third-down passes on a 13-play, 64-yard drive that chewed 6 minutes and 27 seconds off the clock. If you want to be able to put a game away, that's exactly how you do it, guys, right there. But I will tell you, there were plenty of Husker fans quivering in those stands after they squandered that 15-point lead. The other thing is, hey, Huskers, when you only give up 1 sack in a game, you look a little better on offense, and Dylan Raiola has a chance to make plays for this team. You mentioned Komalafe. Northwestern did exactly what one of our keys was to attack Nebraska's weakness on defense, and that was their run game. 172 yards as a team for Northwestern. But as you mentioned, Nebraska, more specific, Emmett Johnson, but as a team, they had 155 on the ground. So they kind of got their running game going as well to complement a solid performance from Dylan Raiola. Preston Stone kind of turned back into Stone on this one with 2 interceptions and a QBR, final QBR of 33 on the day. Per ESPN, Ryan, 11 of the Huskers' last 14 games have all ended in a 1-score result. Nebraska likes to keep it close and keep their fans on the edge of their seat. Impressive win for them. Hell of a bounce back after what was a very disappointing ending to last week with the beatdown that Minnesota handled them. Looking ahead at Nebraska, they've got USC at home next week. They're at UCLA. They're at Penn State. And they get Iowa at home. So we should also, if we're going to talk Iowa, we need to be talking about Nebraska potentially going 10-2 and being a playoff dark horse here. They lost to Michigan, but they've got a really good win week 1 over current frontrunner Cincinnati in the Big 12. They proved they could go on the road. They knocked off Maryland on the road. This is a very solid Northwestern team that they beat. USC would be a great notch in the belt. Penn State a name. Iowa maybe at the end of the season, depending on where they are. Both of these, this could be a matchup to send a team to the playoff. If both are 9-2 some magical way.
That would
if
be
that
crazy.
happens, And then at UCLA, you can't discount them, right? They got humbled today, but they've had quite a turnaround. And then anybody who has Northwestern left on the schedule, they're for real. They're going to challenge you. They have a run game and they play good defense. So don't overlook them. Michigan, I'm looking at you because your offense, again, we're going to get to this game, wasn't fantastic tonight. You lean heavily on the run game, but Northwestern plays pretty good against the run. Northwestern's going to go to USC next week, so they're going to have their pass defense ready. Then they're going to host Michigan, host Minnesota, and go to Illinois. That's another one I look at that's very possible that Northwestern could go 2-2 to end the season here and finish with 7 wins on the season. They only need 1. I think they're getting 1 out of those next 4, Ryan, to become bowl eligible.
Yeah, I can see it. You can predict whether or not Northwestern wins a game based on whether or not Preston Stone turns the ball over. In Northwestern's 5 wins, he has thrown 1 interception. In their 3 losses, he has thrown 8.
Yep. And Northwestern quickly went tied for 3rd to now 7th in the Big Ten.
Yep.
I know there's 18 teams, but as we talked about, this is kind of that middle of the pack separator weekend, and it went positive for Nebraska and not for Northwestern.
Are you concerned at all that we are potentially halfway through Dylan Raiola's college career and it really doesn't feel like he's gotten a whole lot better?
I'm concerned that I haven't felt more electricity from all the hype being a 5-star player and the love affair with Patrick Mahomes. I think the big plays are there. I think the problem this year that maybe we didn't see for coming because they addressed the offensive line in the portal, but their offensive line hasn't been great. And when he has time, he's pretty good. Hits his receivers. He's got, Hunter, Key, Barney out on the outside. But if you were to ask me, as a neutral observer, who's the most exciting part of that offense to watch, it's Emmett Johnson and not Dylan Raiola, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with you. He's a good football player for sure.
And again, Raiola technically has 2 more years in college if he wants to do that. He is draft eligible next year, but he's got 2 more years. There's no push for him to have to go out in 2 more years. But do we feel like he's on the Drew Aller track, maybe?
Yeah, it kind of feels that way right now.
I mean, just the expectations are there, but we never quite reach it. And maybe another year with Muschamp as the coordinator, barring Matt Rule leaving to go to Penn State.
Holgerson?
Did I say? Who did I say?
I said Muschamp.
My bad. That's the second time I've done this. This with Holgerson as the OC, if everything remains the same at Nebraska and Rule does not leave for Penn State, I think he's going to continue to develop. But yes, I feel like my Raiola hype train has been a little stagnant this year.
Clinton, this was probably the worst loss of the weekend, just from like a heartbreak standpoint, I guess. Rutgers 27, Purdue 24. Ryan Brown did play. Good job, me, on the poor info for that one.
I'm with you. I did not see that he was expected to. I read Malachi Singleton.
Purdue got ahead early, and they stayed ahead most of this game. Ethan Kaliak-Manis had 2 long completions to KJ Duff on what was the initial go-ahead touchdown with 7:45 left in the game. Great response from Purdue with Michael Jackson, not that one, with a long kick-out return setting up the touchdown. Good job to hold Rutgers to a field goal, though, and get the ball back, but brutal fumble by Ryan Brown on what was technically a self-completion gave Rutgers the ball back at the Purdue 33 with just under a minute left, and they were able to set up the game-winning field goal. KJ Duff had 241 receiving yards in this game. That's the second most yards in a game in program history. Good bounce-back game from Kaliak-Manis, 19 of 27 for 359 yards and a touchdown. And Antoine Raymond was really good as well. He had 116 yards on 29 carries. And most importantly for Rutgers, they had a little bit more than Antoine Raymond in the running game. Jayshon Benjamin gave them 78 yards on 8 carries. They did a good job containing the Purdue passing attack on defense as well, but they allowed 217 rushing yards to a team that doesn't run the ball well. Clinton, I think you can tell how much pressure has been on Greg Schiano, the way that he just crumbled to the field after the game in celebration.
It's like a sigh of relief, right? And in the fashion that you had to win this game is just an indicator of how your season has went. Jay Patel kicking the game-winning 30-yard field goal. Ryan, I watched that play happen with Ryan Brown try to make that play. And at that case, I get you're trying to spark something for your team, but that scenario doesn't happen very often, but probably should just bat it down.
Yep.
Just in all instances, just to be careful.
Mm-hmm.
Back over to KJ Duff. You mentioned his 241 yards. That's the most by a receiver against Purdue since Wisconsin's Al Toon had 252 in 1983.
Jesus.
Really long time. Purdue was able to generate some pressure today. They sacked Callie McManus 5 times, and they held Rutgers to 4 of 14 on third down. But they themselves are only 1 of 9 on third down, so not great at converting opportunities there. You mentioned Ryan Brown playing today, man. It was like a quarterback shuffle out there. Malachi Singleton popped in the red zone. He completed 2 or 3 passes for 2 touchdowns in the red zone. So maybe Purdue has something there to spark a little bit of package. I was reading the post-game report, and Odom just said that Singleton's been good. He's earned some playing time, so maybe look for that to be a component of the Purdue offense as the rest of the season goes, as they try to find a Big Ten win. However, we talked about this coming into this week. It was almost maybe a little more important for Purdue to get this one because of what remains on their schedule.
Yep.
It is not great for them. It's going to be really hard to find a win when you're at Michigan, home against Ohio State, at Washington, and then home against Indiana.
Yeah, that's not great.
There is potential for them to lose all of those games by 21 plus.
Yep.
And I think we're going to have another back-to-back year where Purdue is the likely joining Wisconsin and maybe Michigan State in the cellar of the Big Ten without a Big Ten win I believe. Yeah, Michigan State and Wisconsin don't play. So it's very feasible that they all just sit at the bottom of the Big Ten and don't win a game. And I don't know the last time I've seen 3 Big Ten teams go the entire year and not win a conference game. But overall, as you mentioned, heartbreaking fashion for the Boilermakers and their fans. When Purdue got that ball back with 24-all, like they're going to go down here. They're going to get themselves a chance to win this game. And then the Ryan Brown play happened. And it's over. Rutgers has a very good field goal kicker. They have no chance here. And they converted on a walk-off. So congratulations to Rutgers and the Scarlet Knight Nation. You guys got your first Big Ten win of the season. Now let's see what you got the rest of the way.
Indiana 56, UCLA 6. The Hoosiers knocked the train off the tracks. This game was 35-3 at halftime. It felt like the IU of the last 2 years where they're just blowing away bad teams. Aiden Fisher had a pick 6 on the second play of this game, stepping into a pass lane on an RPO, and that pretty much set the tone from this one. Fernando Mendoza was picked off on IU's first drive of the game. And that led to UCLA doing an ill-advised fake from the IU 41, which set up the first Indiana touchdown drive, and that was pretty much it at that point. After that first drive that ended in an interception, the Hoosiers scored touchdowns on 7 of their next 8 drives. Alberto Mendoza came in and was intercepted in the fourth quarter, and Clinton, I wonder if this is now the first pair of brothers to throw an interception for the same team in the same game. Fernando was fine overall in this one, 15-22 for 168 yards, 3 touchdowns. He had a couple of really nice runs, too, including a 20-yard TD scramble. The Hoosiers rushed for 262 yards as a team, Roman Hemby leading the way with 81 yards on the ground, and E.J. Williams had his best game of probably his career. 5 catches, 109 yards, 2 touchdowns. It was his first career 100-yard receiving game. He has been playing college football, Clinton, since the COVID year, so pretty big accomplishment there. And the Bruins just could not get anything going on this outstanding Indiana defense. Nico was 13-27 for 113 yards, 2 interceptions, and they only rushed for 88 yards as a team.
Yeah, and the key part that's been for Nico in some of these upset wins or these big wins has been his legs. 7 rushes, 28 yards. Indiana did a fantastic job containing him. Absolute domination, Ryan. The total yardage was 475 to 201. You're going on the road. You got to put forth a little better effort than that. But the official Big Ten championship run and playoff run for UCLA is now canned. Also, if anybody who I believe Brownie CFB was trying to debate Ryan on this, that was purely hypothetical to begin with, and now it no longer exists. It's
Yeah,
done.
we spent all that time talking about something that I knew wasn't going to come to fruition, but I'm like, it just, guys, if it happens, it's going to happen. But we knew it wasn't going to happen.
My first bullet point, as I yawned, good Lord, was Heisman Mendoza, right? Fernando Mendoza still continuing to put himself in the Heisman candidacy alongside Julian Sand, and I would argue Jeremiah Love for the teams that we cover. You mentioned solid performance. The biggest things I'm taking from this is I'm keeping an eye on the injury to Aiden Fisher. He left with an injured knee early in the game. He was seen wearing a protective brace on the Indiana sideline. And to quote Signetti, we took him out kind of precautionary. We do the x-rays, MRIs, and see what those say. And then they also, all-conference defensive end Michael Kamara left briefly in the first half with what appeared to be a shoulder or arm injury, but he did return. So two key pieces there to keep your eyes on as Indiana has Penn State in 2 weeks. And again, I know it's a Penn State team that has fallen off the wagon. But one thing Penn State fans are going to probably try to do is just play spoiler these next 2 weeks and ruin Ohio State or Indiana or both teams' season. Penn State's going to get Indiana at home. So their fans are probably going to show up, be loud, and try to help them out. So Indiana's going to need all hands on deck to ensure, as they should, they will be the presumptive favorite in all 4 of the remaining games at Maryland, at Penn State, Wisconsin, at Purdue, on their way to an appearance in the Big Ten Championship for the first time ever. That'll be pretty cool to see the Crimson fill up Lucas Oil Stadium. Overall, as I said, Roman Hemby would have a great game this week because he's on my fantasy bench. And I should have told you to try to, well, you're in Michigan, so you can player prop bet him. Didn't matter, though. I absolutely obliterated Irwin, who is being a rather poo-poo owner this year and not setting his roster. We're going to have a talk at the end of the season.
Well, I think it's because he's 1-7 and he's just over it.
Yeah, I don't think he's set a roster in like 5 weeks. A lineup. He has 5 players on bye this week.
Brutal.
Anyways, so yeah, if you guys need any betting advice, just ask me if I'm playing Roman Hemby, and if he is, don't bet him. And if I don't, bet him because he can have a great week. But impressive win again for Indiana. I know everybody's going to look at him, well, it's UCLA, but UCLA was the hottest team in the Big Ten right now and looked pretty damn good, and Indiana made quick work.
Also, people need to get over this shit where it's like, oh, well, it's just so and so. If you beat a Power 4 team by 50 points, that's an impressive win.
Absolutely.
I don't give a shit who it is. That's
yeah.
Fucking Oregon just beat Wisconsin by 14 points. If you beat a team by 50, that's a good win.
Yep. Everybody's different week to week.
Stop with the bullshit.
Yes. Indiana
that's
has
my
the
new
ability to flex on people, and it was fantastic today.
If you're going to sit here and dicker over being like, oh, that wasn't a good, that 7 touchdown win wasn't a good win, you're not serious, and I don't care about what you have to say.
Yep. To demolish another
Who is
opponent
this fucking,
that bad.
Who's this guy playing quarterback for Utah?
Fricklin? Whatever his last name is.
Luke Ficklin.
He's a little baller. He's got mobility, man.
He's small and he throws left-handed.
They're not going to need a Dampier back. Actually, they didn't need him in this game anyways because Colorado sucks.
Yeah, Colorado's pretty bad.
Who we got next on the docket?
Well, that was a good segue, Clinton, because we have Oregon 21, Wisconsin 7. I'm just fuck Oregon. You ruined my night. Ruined it. Hunter Simmons completed 1 pass the first 3 quarters of this game, but again, they scored.
He was the leading passer in this game.
Yes, because early in the 3rd quarter, Dante Moore took a forearm shiver to the face. It knocked his face mask back into his nose and drew a fair amount of blood. After the game, Dan Lanning said he was fine. He probably could have come back in if needed, but
Didn't need him.
They did not need him. And honestly, Clinton, it felt like they were calling this game like they knew Wisconsin was not going to score points, because even early they were just running up the middle, running down the play clock, because it looked messy, and Oregon looked very content to just get out of there with whatever victory they could and not risk anyone getting hurt. But credit to the Wisconsin defense in this one. They were fantastic at the point of attack. They allowed a couple of long busts that ended up kind of affecting the overall rushing number, but I think Oregon only averaged like 4.6 yards per carry in this game. Let me fact check myself on that because I did not.
4.5
This game went
with
final.
sack adjusted numbers.
There we go, 4.5 yards per carry. So pretty good effort by the Wisconsin defense in this one. Again, you hold Oregon to 21 points. That's a good effort anyway, but they don't have an offense at all.
No. Back to their defense. 4 sacks, 7 tackles for loss in this game. So the Wisconsin defense, not the problem. As Ryan said, their offense is extremely bad. You also had 4 fumbles in this game. You didn't lose any of them, but Hunter Simmons fumbled the ball 3 times, and Atuka fumbled once. And you also look at Gideon Atuka, led the team with 21 carries, 85 yards, averaging 4 yards per carry. And that was about the promise of your offense. You know, Wisconsin threw some punches here and there, getting some first downs, but overall, this game never felt close, never felt like Wisconsin was going to have a chance. As Ryan mentioned, if Oregon would have felt threatened, they would have put Dante Moore back on the field. And if they felt threatened at all, they wouldn't start with an onside kick.
Yeah.
Dan Lanning just does not care. Jordan Davidson, great performance in this game with a heavy monsoon, 16 carries, 102 yards, 2 TDs. Noah Whittington, also a great performance, 14 carries, 97 yards. Both guys over 6.5 yards per carry there. So Oregon, again, continues. Well, these guys had 20 of the carries, so maybe these are the 2 they're kind of leaning on, as De'Aaron Hill he sat with 2 carries, 28 yards in this game. And everybody else had negative yards rushing after that. So an impressive win for the Ducks to be able to not let the weather get the better of you and allow silly turnovers or silly plays to happen that would allow a team like Wisconsin to hang around. And Wisconsin, I don't know if you're going to win another game this year. So you're probably going to be living at the bottom. You're against Washington, at Indiana, Illinois, at Minnesota. I see no games winnable there unless Minnesota shows up or doesn't show up like they did today, or against Ohio State, and then Wisconsin will have a chance.
I don't know. Like, this is just such a weird vibes game just because of the weather. You just don't really know, like, who's going into what. But I almost feel like this game would make me more confident as a Wisconsin fan in at least keeping Fickle, because they haven't quit on him and they're at least playing hard.
Yes, and again,
and there's at least structure on defense. That's something that you can build on.
They've got to figure the offense out. And again, they'll get year 2 in now that they've had to reverse the dairy raid that they tried to build the offense for. And they have the AD and the promise from the school that they're going to invest in the portal. And I think you obviously need to be investing on offense because you have a defense that could win you games. You have an offense that's not going to win you any Big Ten conference games.
Your offense might not even win you the MAC, and the MAC is not very good this year.
Billy Edwards played 4 games yet this year?
No, he can technically redshirt.
You're going to get a red shirt and come back next year.
You're going to need that if you're Wisconsin, man, because at this point, how are you going to get another transfer quarterback to come in? Because what's like the sales
Final
pitch?
Destination.
Come here and we'll kill you by game 3.
Yep. Then you're toast.
Like the cycle of injuries are just getting progressively more ridiculous. Like the next transfer quarterback that they bring in is going to like tear his ACL stepping off of a step at the math science.
He might tear it on the phone call.
Yeah, he commits.
Coach, I'm actually injured. I'm going to be out for the first month of the season. Just by talking to you.
He tore a vocal cord on his commitment call, and now he can't speak in the huddle.
Silent count.
Yeah, there you go. The clap only. Let's finish this one up, Clinton, with the game that went final while we were live. Michigan 31, Michigan State 20. This was just an ugly passing game all around. Neither really the most impressive quarterback was Milivojevic coming in off the bench, if we're being honest with each other. But a lot of good running in this one. A good old-fashioned Big Ten slobber knocker. Justice Haynes played, and whenever he plays, man, he rushes for 100 yards and he scores touchdowns. He was awesome in this one. 26 carries, 152 yards, 2 scores. And Jordan Marshall broke the century mark again, 15 carries, 110 yards. He broke a 56-yard touchdown run late. First off, let's start with Michigan, because I'm sure there's a eventual postmortem that we're going to need to do on Michigan State, because I feel like you got to get rid of the coach at this point. But I just don't The Michigan defense is good. They're very good. I still don't know what the passing ceiling is, and I don't know how much of it is Bryce Underwood because I don't like. Why do they still play Samaj Morgan? That motherfucker cannot catch a football. Did you see the one drop he had? I think it was the end of the first half. Like Underwood like rifled it between two defenders and it hit him in the fucking face.
Yeah,
because he couldn't get his hands up in time.
Certainly hurts when you're looking at an 8 for 17 stat line for Bryce Underwood, but you're completely right, Ryan. It just Michigan still does not have a pass game, which makes them extremely one-dimensional, which again makes it extremely impressive that they continue to win with only one part of offense, which is running the ball that they are very good at. Your boy Donovan McCauley, 1 reception, 9 yards.
He didn't even have a McCauley game.
3 for 30.
Didn't have a McCauley game. Andrew Marsh is good. I told you it might be an Andrew Marsh breakout game. But
is it sad to say that Michigan sucks so bad just as a team passing the ball? They're giving Bryce Underwood like Davis Warren stats.
It's just like, but they just like Andrew Marsh. They have like 1.5 receivers.
Mm-hmm.
If that.
Can't do anything.
It's like 1.25 because I don't know that Andrew Marsh is like fully formed yet. He's getting closer, but like you have half of one in McCauley, and those were the only 2 wide receivers that caught passes for them today.
That is where they're going to have to pitch in the portal pretty hard to come playing with Bryce Underwood in next year's season, and maybe that is maybe they'll pillage Nick Marsh and pair him with Andrew Marsh. The Marsh brothers. Overall, I'm not overly impressed with Michigan in this. I feel like Michigan benefited from some no calls early when they had some pretty blatant pass interferences that were not called. And then in the the third quarter, the second half, the offside that wasn't an offside that would have been a fumble recovery by Michigan State.
I kind of get that one because it just like happens so fast, and it was like when you slow it down, it's obviously easy to tell anything. Mm-hmm. But when I was 18 and immature, I was very much the refs are out to get my team guy. Mm-hmm. As I have grown older and wiser, and I'm not a big fucking petulant baby like half the people on Twitter. I mean, I guess I am sometimes, but not with the refs at least. I'm no longer the refs are out to get my team guy. I'm very much these guys are just terrible at their jobs guy. Mm-hmm. Like it's like across the sport, there's just god awful officiating. I don't think that there's got to be some sort of conversation. There needs to be like national standardization. We need to get rid of conference officials. It just needs to be all under one umbrella where they're all full-time employees, and when they're not like in season doing their job, they spend their off season training and reading the rule book or whatever. Like pay them what you need to. Don't do this stipend per game bullshit. Just make them salaried employees. Make it their full-time job. So that way we just aren't having this conversation every week, because it's not that they're out to get your team. They just suck. They're just not good at their jobs.
Yep. Absolutely. Not great. And if you give Michigan State, let's say you even give them the fumble before the start of the second half, I don't know if they win this game.
Yeah, because
maybe the changes it, but they just they're not good enough on offense. The defense played fine today. I know they gave up a ton on the run game, but they made some plays when they needed to. But then the offense just shit down their pants.
What was the score when that happened? Was it
10-7?
Yeah, and then Michigan went down and scored right after. So I mean, that's at least
14-point swing.
Boy, he shanked the shit out of that punt.
He sure did.
Oh,
it's a 14-point swing, because it arguably could have been 7 for Michigan State, and then it went 7 to Michigan. So, yeah, I mean, that's potentially 14-10, but there wasn't enough for Michigan State on offense and just the mistakes they made. Look later in the game, had a chance getting the ball back, and the returner lets it bounce on a punt, and they get it down at the 1-yard line. And then it's a 3-and-out and punt again. And it's just like, you can't make mistakes like that and expect to win a rivalry game against a good ranked opponent. And Childs tonight, inconsistent. He was under pressure a lot. Mm-hmm. And you saw it on some of his passes, even when he wasn't under pressure. He was only sacked once. But when he was, I'm sorry, Michigan State only got 1 sack. He was sacked 4 times. even when he wasn't fully under pressure, Ryan, he had happy feet problems, and
sure.
he shorted some of his throws, and he was inconsistent. And that was the big thing we talked about, and a key for this game. If Michigan State wanted to pull the upset at home, they had to protect the quarterback. And even when he wasn't getting hit, he still felt like he was. The one fun thing I meant we should have brought up again for your Michigan turf versus grass stat, they certainly blew that out of the water tonight.
Oh, God, yeah.
Was it 120-something yards on natural grass, or they went for 276?
Yeah, they almost had two
That was
running backs
pretty,
that clipped that.
yeah, pretty impressive there by them. Nick Marsh continues to be a lone bright spot in the Michigan State offense. I feel like Mekhi Frazier's coming along for them in the rush game, 14 for 109. It's just there's not enough there, and you mentioned we were going to get to it, so I'm going to get to it now. Jonathan Smith needs to be fired.
Yeah,
This is a failed experiment.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was promising. It's not there. At this point, it's worse than the Mel Tucker experience because Mel Tucker at least had one magical season, and I don't think Jonathan Smith's going to get that at all. And you just look at what D'Antonio had for so many years. Michigan State under D'Antonio these past 2 years kicks Michigan's ass.
Yep.
With teams that he had, Michigan wouldn't have a chance.
Yep.
And they don't have it anymore. They've kind of lost it, and they've got to find someone to get it. And you mentioned it last Monday on the Sound Off, and when we've been talking about these coach openings in reference to Wisconsin, like you're going to be the 5th, 6th best option, maybe worse.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're Michigan State, maybe you don't need to swing as big. You're not going to swing as big as you can. Find a really good offensive coordinator somewhere or defensive coordinator. D'Antonio, I believe, cut his teeth with defense, so I think maybe that's where you need to start. If you can keep Childs around and Marsh to build around, you're kind of set on offense, but find you an OC, a DC, maybe a head coach who wants to come coach you. Hell, maybe call Mark D'Antonio again, see if he wants to come back.
No, they need to go get a lower. I get that they just tried to get a lower level head coach, but you need to get like the Signetti guy, the guy who's been
go poach James Madison's coach.
Yeah,
do it again.
Bob Chesney would actually be a pretty good hire for them. But you like the guy who like the Lance Leipold who has won at multiple different levels, or like Kalen DeBoer who won it. Was it Wisconsin Whitewater? No, that was wherever the fuck he was at before he was at Fresno State. Or I guess before he was at Indiana, and then at Fresno State, and then won at what? Like the guys who've won everywhere. Mm-hmm. That's the type of guy that you need, not just, oh, well, Jonathan Smith had 2 good years at Oregon State, and we're going to promote him. We're going to give him a shot.
I mean, at this point, don't be afraid to take a chance like that because it has worked very well for Indiana. And again, you're not going to replicate their perfect success, but Michigan State, historically as a football program, is way better than Indiana. So you're telling me they can't? I know they're a big basketball school. I get it.
I mean,
but they can be respectable. They can be respectable in this Big Ten. There's no reason they should be sitting 3-5, 0-5 in the Big Ten.
They made a 14 playoff.
Yeah,
you can win there.
Yeah, absolutely. It's proven. It's done. It's not as hard as what Signetti had to do with Indiana. And in today's world with the portal, you can turn a team around to respectable in 1 year.
Yep.
1 year's all you need. Mel Tucker example, for instance.
That's
now,
true.
You go full Mike Norvell and you live by the portal, die by the portal, but you can at least start a foundation for your team. But I think, I don't know if they'll pull the plug on it. I've not seen the backing of Jonathan Smith in the way that Wisconsin's obviously backed Luke Fickell. But you're at Minnesota, home against Penn State, at Iowa, and versus Maryland. Can you find a win there at all, Ryan, for them? Maybe Maryland at the end of the year?
Not really.
Again, Minnesota, if they show up the way they have 2 times this year, but I don't think you're going to get them because Minnesota's at home, and they're going to be just fine. So
yeah,
Michigan State, Purdue, and Wisconsin are all looking at 0-5 not 0-5, 0-furs in the Big Ten this year.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Crazy.
Yeah, man, it's just like I don't know. My concern with them is it just doesn't look like they've gotten better. Like there's nothing that you can hang your hat on and say, okay, well, we might be losing tough, close games, but at least this is better.
Mm-hmm. And honestly, I know overall Childs feels better this year, but it's hard to evaluate a guy when his offensive line sucks.
Yeah.
It's really hard, and his offensive line sucks.
Yeah.
And it's just he's not getting a chance, I feel like, to fully develop or showcase his talent. So, in with a new coach, if you can keep him, also brings the promise of maybe some improvements on the offensive line. But they
Yeah.
have to find something. And Ryan, before we close out tonight, I just want to touch base real quick. The MAC's freaking crazy, man. Good Lord.
Fuck.
It is a clusterfuck.
Yeah.
And right now, I believe it is standings. It's Miami at number 1 because they are undefeated. Western, who just lost to Miami tonight, will be sitting number 2 at 3-1. Central's 3-1. Buffalo is 3-1, and OU's 3-1.
Well, those definitely are not updated because Miami beat Western tonight.
No, I'm literally looking at the score right now.
Oh,
5-3,
right.
4-0,
You're right.
4-4,
Okay,
3-1.
Right. Yeah, you're right. They haven't lost it. Okay, my bad.
Yep. So, as Alex told us, it's the most interesting conference in football because you'd have no clue what the hell you're getting year after year in this conference. And there's a reason they haven't had a back-to-back champion, I don't remember the number, in a very, very long time. Right now, if the season ended, it would be the 4-0 in conference Miami Redhawks against the Central Michigan Chippewas at 3-1. That would be your MAC championship.
It's crazy.
Also feasible, just sitting there, are the OU Bobcats, Buffalo Bulls, Western Michigan. Toledo sitting at 2-2. Ryan, that was both of our predictions.
Dude, Toledo
MAC title.
Toledo sucks. Their offense is so bad.
Got
I'm
walked.
shocked at how bad their offense is.
Yep, and then a team we thought would be middle of the pack, Bowling Green. They're at the bottom of the MAC. They're not the worst. UMass holds that, but BG's 1-3, 3-5 on the season. Ball State is a respectable 2-2 and 3-5 in the conference. Now, they lost to Northern Illinois as you projected, and I believe Northern Illinois covered, so I whiffed on that one. I was riding high on the Cardinals, but Akron's respectable 2-3. Ryan, Jesus, Kent State's won 2 conference games this year.
Yeah, they beat Bowling Green today. That was bad.
This conference is crazy, and guess what, buddy? We're getting close to November, and MACtion arrives just for the crazy part of the season.
Yep.
I'm excited.
I'm excited for my my weeknight games. Come home from work, flip it on the TV. It's going to be fun. And the Big Ten season will get fun too here coming up the next couple weeks. We obviously have our contender class at the top with Ohio State, Indiana, and Oregon, but I think one of the interesting things to follow over the next couple weeks is there going to be a 4th playoff team from this group that's kind of in the middle? I mean, it's getting a little smaller. It's pretty much right now Michigan, Nebraska, Iowa, and Washington. Like that's your group of teams that are still kind of in the thick of it for potentially getting that playoff bid. And they'll have earned it too. Like, this isn't just. I think we kind of had this conversation preseason about Illinois. Like, what if they go 10-2 but lose to Indiana and Ohio State? Is that really going to be a playoff team? If Michigan is 10-2, they'll have beaten Ohio State. If any of the other 3 teams are 10-2, well, USC too, man. We can't forget USC. I almost fucking forgot about USC.
3-1, 5-2 overall.
But the funny thing is I think all of those teams play Oregon still.
Yes. So they have to get through the Ducks.
Which is really funny. So if any of those teams go 10-2, they'll have a win against Oregon. And, well, maybe then we're having a conversation about does 10-2 Oregon get in the playoff. But I guess we won't open that can of worms tonight. It's midnight. I'm sure you want to go to bed.
Yeah, it's going to get real spicy. November is where you find out your contenders. And the Big Ten, Ohio State and Indiana look like arguably the 2 most real teams, not only in the Big Ten, but in the entire country as far as consistency. Oregon, obviously, there, I think in name, or not name, but alphabetical order, Iowa stands above Michigan and USC. But, Minnesota still looms there at 3-2 in the conference. They're not a playoff team, given that they'll have 3 losses, but respectable in conference. Northwestern's 3-2, Washington 3-2, UCLA 3-2, Illinois 2-3. Who raise your hand if you had UCLA being higher in the conference than Illinois at this point.
Definitely not me.
Illinois' most notable win is against the Trojans, but they have failed to show up against Ohio State, Washington, and Indiana. Their three biggest games. Ryan, I said, very possible they go 9-3, 8-4 this year, which is not a downgrade, but not quite the hype that everybody was putting on this team at the beginning of the season. And we kind of pumped our brakes a little bit in August with this team. So it's been a great season. A lot more to come. I don't expect Penn State to beat Ohio State or Indiana, but I fully expect over the next 2 weeks that both Indiana and Ohio State better be ready. Penn State's they're gonna give you something. And if you turn the ball over multiple times, you're gonna lose that game. You have to be prepared. Ohio State at times off bye weeks comes out pretty lackluster. This is a big noon game. The fans will show up. It's Penn State. They'll be there. But Ohio State has to be ready. They need to keep fine-tuning things to get ready for the game that looms at the end of November.
What?
And Indiana might as well be on cruise control at this point, other than the Penn State game.
Dude, this kid's name is Bird Ficklin. Bird.
Stellar name. Oh, he missed a dime there.
If you are still listening to this podcast, congratulations. You currently have more yards of total offense than the Colorado Buffaloes do.
They're so bad.
They have -6 yards of offense, and there's 1 minute and 34 seconds left in the first half.
Horrible.
That is all for us tonight. No Sunday show this week because we did our show tonight. We'll be back with you guys on Monday. 9
Should
p.m.
we
Eastern
briefly discuss this idea that's gaining traction, Ryan, of a 2014 playoff on Monday night?
time? Oh, sure. Why not?
I think we should bring it up.
Cool. We'll
So that'll be one of our pieces, in addition to Role and Player of the Week.
Yeah, we'll just do a whole 45 minutes of screaming into the void about how dumb this is.
Yeah, certainly.
Don't play a regular season then. All right, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. Hope you enjoyed the games. We'll see you guys on Monday
See you.
night.